All right, welcome. Today we will be exploring beliefs and why beliefs matter, uh, and how understanding beliefs and their nature, their actual structure, and then how to change beliefs can help you in all areas of your life. So that will be the topic for today. And before we get into the details of that, first of all, I would like to just set the intention for this talk today so that we can all be clear about what the purpose of this is, and you can decide whether this is for you or not. So the intention here is to support you in knowing who you are and fulfilling your purpose in this life. So that, in my view, is the most important thing. It's as far as I can tell, that's the most important thing. And so that's what the intention is here. So along the way, of course, you may discover how to fulfill many of your desires. And so you may achieve many things that you want to achieve, and you may enjoy that. And that's fine and wonderful and good and all. But the larger context of that is so that you can actually know yourself and fulfill your greater purpose. Um, And so that's what we explore in these meetings. That's what I explore in these meetings. That's what I invite you to explore together with me in these meetings. And usually, and today will be no exception, the context, the subcontext of that is that um, understanding the structure of experience, understanding how you create your experience is useful for self-knowledge because your experience is a significant part uh, of yourself in a way. So we could say that yourself consists of these dual aspects. One aspect of yourself is that aspect of yourself which is aware, which is, we could say, unaffected or uninvolved. And then there's the aspect of yourself which is the experience or the expression or the manifestation. And many times people will only focus on one or the other of these aspects as though it was possible to divide yourself into two. Um, but actually, they go together. It's like two sides of a coin. So you can't have experience if you're not aware, but if you're aware without experience, then there's no, uh, it's difficult to know of yourself. And so they really go together. And so we have desire, which gives rise to the experience, which gives rise to the lifetime. And if we attempt to ignore that, then that usually does not go very well. And so this is a mistake that oftentimes people will make is they think that they're pursuing what they would consider to be spirituality, and they think that that means trying to negate the world or be uninvolved, completely uninvolved in the world, as though um, uh, that was the totality of existence, was just uninvolved consciousness or uninvolved awareness. And it usually, like I say, it usually doesn't work very well. It leaves people feeling frustrated and unfulfilled, and then it ultimately just keeps them stuck. And then on the other hand, the other extreme are those people who just ignore completely the aspect of themselves which is aware and conscious, and instead they just focus on the manifest aspect of experience, which is just let's get things and have things and do things as though it just the having and achieving of things was going to be enough to lead to real fulfillment, and that doesn't work in and of itself. So it's really the marriage of these two things that gives the best results for most of us. So that is to recognize that you are a complete being, which is both aware and which is experiencing. So there is experience that is occurring, there is desire, and there's also awareness of that. And so rather than trying to divorce ourselves from either of those, we can just acknowledge that we are total beings that are inclusive of all of that. And so, in order to know yourself or achieve true self and complete self knowledge, it's useful to have knowledge of the manifest aspect of being. And so that is part of what it is that I share. Is it's not just about being aware of awareness. It's not about trying to deny the world. It's about yes, being aware of yourself as awareness and also having awareness of the structure of experience, having awareness of the manifest aspect of life, and eventually developing mastery over that process of creation of your own experience. So, because what's the point of just suffering? A lot of people are just stuck suffering because they refuse to actually discover what the structure of experience is. They refuse to discover what part and role they play in that whole process. So in these talks, I invite us to explore the whole picture, the whole self, and that includes understanding and gaining mastery over the process of one's manifest experience. So uh, that's the context. So today, like I said, we'll be talking about and exploring beliefs. So there are three aspects to this that I'd like to explore. First is what is a belief? Second aspect is why do beliefs matter? Why is it even worth uh, understanding them or exploring beliefs? And then the third part is how it's possible to change beliefs. So we'll start with uh, understanding what a belief is. So we probably, most of us either use the word belief or at least hear others use the word belief quite frequently, if not on a daily basis. So we might say things like, I believe that the Lakers will win the championship. I believe that Lamborghinis are the best type of car. I believe that Americans are uh, uh, great consumers. We say these kinds of things. Or we might say, I believe in freedom. I believe in uh, Christianity. I believe in myself. I believe in truth. I believe that I am a decent human being. I believe we use these kinds of ideas very often. And so beliefs are all over the place. And yet, how much do you actually know about what a belief is? So that's the first thing I'd like to explore is what is a belief actually? Because I will propose next that beliefs are very, very important, extremely important. But if we don't first know what they are, then we can't do much with them. So the first step is to understand what they are. So a belief, you could think sometimes a belief just seems like a little more than an opinion, and it might not really uh, hold much weight. And so, we might say, like I said, I believe the Lakers will win the championship. So, it's not a particularly strong belief. It's just an opinion. It's maybe an expression of a preference or something like that. But a lot of beliefs are run much deeper than that. So beliefs about, I believe in truth. I believe in freedom. I believe that I am a decent human being. I believe that people should tell the truth. I believe that people should be kind to one another. These are much, much deeper than something like I believe the Lakers should win the championship. But fundamentally, all beliefs, whether they are something fairly superficial or something deeper, they share a structure. And so I'll propose to you what that might be. So a belief really is a generalization that we make about meaning that we assign to experiences that we've had or we believe we've had. So you've had some kind of any belief that you have is really just a generalization that you've made about meaning that you've assigned to experiences that you've had. So if you have the belief, people should be kind to one another, if you happen to have that belief, then there would have to be a basis for that. And I'm proposing that the basis would be that you've had experiences that you think mean that people should be kind, and you've generalized that as a universal kind of thing. People should be kind. So you've had experiences that we could say have led you to value kindness, and then you've generalized that to people should be kind. So the actual structure is based on associations. So there's an association of a meaning, and then there are the experiences that the meaning is associated with. So you've had experiences, but actually none of the experiences inherently mean anything. So experiences are just experiences. They're just things that happen. There's just things happening, and they don't mean anything. So nothing that happens inherently means anything, but we assign meaning to the things that happen. So if somebody you were as a child, if you were bullied, I mean that's a meaning, right? That is assigned. There's no such thing as bullying, but we could assign that meaning. So you had some experience where somebody said something to you, and then you took that to mean, well, they're being unkind, they're being cruel, it's hurtful. So you assign that meaning, and then you could assign even further meaning because you say, well, they shouldn't do that. And so then you could turn that into, well, people should be kind. And if you have the more of those experiences that you have, then it will seem to fortify that belief because now there's a whole bunch of experiences that seem to corroborate this meaning because you form the association. So there's just things that have happened, and the things that have happened are just colors and movement and sound and taste and all these kinds of things. That's all it is. It doesn't actually have an inherent meaning, but you assigned meaning to those things that happened. And then you generalize that. You said, well, now there's a broader category here, and that's the belief. The belief is that this meaning is true because I have all of these things that it's associated with. So we could take a look now. Let's just explore a couple of specific examples so this can make sense. So let's say that we have a person who we'll call this person A, and person A has a belief. They say they go on social media and they create some content on social media that says dogs are wonderful. Dogs are wonderful. So they're expressing a belief that they have. Well, sounds interesting. You can say, well, person A, tell me a little bit more about this. What causes you to believe that dogs are wonderful? And they say, well, I'm glad that you asked. You see, when I was growing up, my family had a dog, and this dog and I shared so many experiences, and I determined that those experiences all meant wonderful. I thought they were all wonderful experiences. That was my evaluation of them, and therefore I believe that dogs are wonderful. So there's experiences. There are meanings assigned to those experiences, and then that's generalized to be something that's true. So then that becomes a belief. But notice that just the sounds, dogs are wonderful. I mean, it doesn't have any meaning inherent in it. It's just sounds. So if you did not understand English and all you heard was dogs are wonderful, it would just be sounds and it would have no meaning because the sounds don't mean anything. There's the meaning that you associate with those sounds. So dogs are wonderful does not, the sounds don't actually mean anything. And the sounds of dogs are wonderful does not in and of itself form a belief. So just the sounds of dogs are wonderful is not a belief. In order for it to be a belief, there has to be some kind of substance there that's associated with that. So there has to be a meaning and then the substance with which it's associated. So the substance would be the experiences. So the experiences, again, don't mean anything inherently, but we assign meaning to them. So there's person A who has the belief dogs are wonderful. And when we've unpacked that, then the actual substance of that is that this person had experiences in childhood with a family dog, and they deemed those experiences were wonderful, and therefore dogs are wonderful. Now, person B also on social media expresses the belief dogs are wonderful. And on the surface, it seems like the same belief, right? I mean, there's person A saying dogs are wonderful, person B says dogs are wonderful, so it must be the same belief. Well, no, it's not. Same words, same sounds, but no two people expressing the same sounds actually is expressing the same belief because the belief is not the sounds. The belief is the the substance that's behind that. And the substance has to be different because it's the substance is the experiences and the meanings that the person has assigned to that and generalized. So even though it may be expressed in the same way, so two people saying the same thing, person A saying dogs are wonderful, person B saying dogs are wonderful, seems on the surface to be the same belief, but it can't possibly be because they're two different people having different experiences. So we asked person B, well, this is really interesting that you also are saying dogs are wonderful. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about why that is for you? And they might say, well, uh, so I've never actually met a dog, but I've read a bunch of books about dogs who saved human babies. And so I determined based on all those stories that I read that dogs are wonderful. So different experiences. And the person assigned a similar meaning, not exactly the same meaning, because what does it mean to be wonderful? It's a different meaning for different people, but a similar kind of meaning, something positive, a positive association that they've associated with dogs generally, but based on different experiences. So person A had personal experiences with a dog as a child, and they deemed that those experiences were wonderful experiences, and therefore dogs are wonderful. Person B never met a dog in their life, but read a bunch of stories about dogs saving babies, and decided that means dogs are wonderful. So they're different beliefs. They sound the same on the surface, and probably person A and person B would congregate on social media and pat one another on the back and say, I agree with you. You're a wonderful person because you believe dogs are wonderful. But different beliefs, actually. Now, let's say we have person C. Person C says dogs are terrible, also on social media, because where else would they be? So person C is on social media as well, but this person is posting all kinds of content, letting everybody know, proclaiming to the world, dogs are terrible. And I say, well, person C, now why are you proclaiming that dogs are terrible? And they would say, well, there was a time once when I was 5 years old and the neighbor's dog bit me. And I have concluded from that that dogs are terrible. So but the same structure, right? So there's experience, which is inherently meaningless, doesn't really mean anything, but the person assigns meaning to it and then generalizes that and forms the belief. So now dogs are terrible. So there was one experience or multiple experiences, person assigned a meaning to that, grouped them together, says so associates them all together and says this is all the proof that means this belief, and then they give language to that. Dogs are terrible or dogs are wonderful. So we've got these three people expressing three different beliefs, even though two of them on the surface appear to be the same belief, and one of them appears to be a different belief, but actually it's three different beliefs because the beliefs are not just the sounds. The beliefs are the substance that forms them, but they all share a common structure because the structure of a belief is a universal thing. That's what a belief actually is when you have associations between experiences and meaning, and you generalize that to be something true. Because, we all have these kinds of beliefs like dogs are wonderful or dogs are terrible. You might not have any opinion about dogs, but you would, if you had one of those beliefs, then it's based on experiences that you've had, and you assign meanings to those, and then you generalize that. Because it couldn't, could all dogs be wonderful? I mean, it depends on your definition of wonderful, I suppose. But um, probably not. Depending on the definition. So if a person defines wonderful as, uh, you know, playing fetch in the at the lake on a enjoyable summer afternoon, then not all dogs would fit that criteria because not all dogs are interested in playing fetch at the lake, and not all afternoons are in the summer, and not all summer afternoons are equally enjoyable. Depends on so many things. So it wouldn't actually be true that all dogs are wonderful according to that criteria, but that the belief nonetheless would be there because the belief is not really about that being literally true. It's about that placeholder for the meaning that's been generalized of based on what was assigned to all of these experiences. So that's what a belief actually is. And when you understand that, then you can start to realize that beliefs are highly individual, highly personal, and highly malleable because there's nothing that really holds them in place other than how you've organized your own experience within yourself. So you've just done this organization. Now, mostly unconsciously. Most of us have formed the vast majority of our beliefs unconsciously. But nonetheless, the process by which they were formed was always the same because, again, there's a certain structure. And so you had to follow a similar process in order to fit things into that structure. But because it's usually unconscious, we don't know that we've done it, and we don't know what that structure is, and we don't know much about it at all. Which, if all your beliefs were working for you, then that would be no problem. It's only problematic when many of the beliefs or some of the beliefs are not working well for you. So then you're stuck with a bunch of beliefs that are not working well for you, but you don't really know what they are. You don't know how they're structured. You don't know how they were created. You don't know how to change them. And you probably don't even know fully how they're affecting you. So now having that knowledge of what a belief actually is and realizing that it's malleable, that it's not set in stone, it's not defined externally. So there's no thing outside of you that dictates what beliefs you must have. They're actually structured within you, and you have the ability to change them. This should be good news. I mean, I consider it good news. And hopefully you would also recognize that it's good news because it means that you have the ability to change beliefs that are not working well for you. So we'll get to that part in a moment about how you can change beliefs. But before we get to that, let's take a look at why would it matter? Why would you want to change beliefs? So what effect does belief have? And as I said earlier, I believe that beliefs are enormously important because beliefs, according to me, actually form the unconscious operating system which dictate your perception and your actions. So think about, and that might seem like a bold claim because a lot of the time people think that they're conscious and awake and aware and rational, but nothing could be further from the truth. 99+% of the time, most people are unconscious, unaware, and completely irrational. So because beliefs are, like I said, the unconscious operating system, which are running the show. And so if you don't have the knowledge and the motivation to make changes to your beliefs, then you're just stuck with whatever you've already got and whatever will happen to you by happenstance. And if you're happy with that, then great. But probably, I mean, if you were completely happy with that, you probably wouldn't be here now. So, so understanding how much of an influence beliefs are having in your life is important to understand because this will motivate you to start to take steps to change the beliefs that are not working for you. So let's just briefly explore how beliefs are dictating your perception and your behavior. So, like I said, a lot of the time people think that they're awake and aware and conscious all the time and rational, but I would say that's not at all true. And uh, what's really true is that we all, out of necessity, are filtering out most of what's actually happening. Because if you think about it, I mean, there's an enormous amount of, let's just call it data or information that is available in every moment. So there's basically an infinite amount of light and sound and uh, other kind of sensory data that is occurring. And yet, if you were consciously aware of all of that, uh, that would be very difficult to process. I mean, think about if you tried to listen to two different songs at the same time, how that would be. And then try listening to infinite songs all at the same time. How would that be? I mean, you couldn't do it. Or I guess I shouldn't say you couldn't, but it would be quite challenging, to put it mildly, to actually listen to consciously infinite songs at the same time and then add into that infinite conversations simultaneously. And then add into that processing infinite visual things, movements and colors and so forth all at the same time. It's not going to happen. So we filter out almost all of it. And your beliefs work as a filter. So you can just automatically filter out enormous amounts of things because if you have a belief dogs are wonderful, then you don't have to process nearly as much information when there's a dog involved in the equation because you can just automatically go with, well, dogs are wonderful. And as long as that's working for you, then it's great. But just notice that that's going to have a very significant effect on your perception and your behavior. Because if you happen to have a belief dogs are wonderful, and then a dog, you see a dog, then you will have a tendency to have you will perceive that dog as wonderful, probably friendly, or at least with the potential for being friendly. It will tend to then create a sense of openness, and your behaviors will be those of openness and maybe approach and receptivity. On the other hand, if you happen to have the belief dogs are terrible or dogs are dangerous or dogs are scary or something like that, then anytime there's a dog involved, then you will tend to cause a perception of a threat, and then your behavior will follow from that. So your behavior will tend to be closed and avoidant or hostile. So, and that's just with one simple example. So you now consider how many beliefs you have. So I've said your beliefs create or are the unconscious operating system. So you have numerous beliefs. I don't even know how to quantify it. I mean, at least thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, maybe even more beliefs. Probably billions, trillions of beliefs because they form in all kinds of different permutations. mean, because even the belief like dogs are wonderful, there's a belief about what a dog is, and there's a belief about what wonderful is, and then there's a belief dogs are wonderful, and there's a belief about what it means to be something. So there's these permutations of all these different beliefs coming together to form a belief that seems simple on the surface, of belief of dogs are wonderful, but there are many beliefs involved in that belief. Uh, so there's just so many beliefs, and you think about, you believe. Just think about your identity beliefs, just as a start. Okay, so you might believe like I. What do you think about? What do you believe about yourself? I am. I am, right? So yeah, probably have that belief. Like I am. That's a belief. I exist. I am. That's a belief. Because then you have a belief about what you are. If you exist and there's something that exists, and you have a belief about what that is, just that there's something there, that's a belief. If you had, then you would have beliefs about what you could elaborate on what that is. So you could say, I am, uh, somebody says weird. People probably have that belief about me. Uh, so, I'm weird, I'm tall, I'm short, I'm attractive, I'm unattractive, I'm interesting, I'm uninteresting, I'm intelligent, I'm unintelligent. People like me. It's not really a belief about yourself per se, but that's a belief about other people. Um, on and on and on. I'm an American. I'm French. I'm strong. Somebody says I'm uh, all these different identities that they're all beliefs. So just notice how many of those you have, and we could be here all day, and you could just keep on listing them off because there's so many of them. And so some of them are maybe more superficial. You might say, well, if really challenged, you say, well, like if you identified as American, I know many of you would not, but if you happen to be somebody who identified as that, if you identified as some nationality, then you might say, well, you know, that's more of a superficial belief, because if really challenged, you might say, well, I'm not really that. I'm not really defined by that. And then some of them may seem to be run a little deeper. Like if you say, well, I'm intelligent, and you might say, yeah, I'm definitely an intelligent person. I'm definitely intelligent. So that might run a little deeper than I'm American, or I'm French, or I'm Canadian, or whatever. But there's so many beliefs. And those are just self beliefs. Those are just identity beliefs. And then there are the beliefs about other people, other groups. Uh, there are beliefs that there are groups. Their beliefs about how life works, what life is. So many beliefs. So, like I said, if we were to try and list all of the beliefs, take you take the rest of your life to try and identify all the beliefs you have. You have that many beliefs, and those form the unconscious operating system, which are filtering your perception and dictating your behavior. So and that's as it should be. So it's not a design flaw or anything. It's actually quite useful because um, you don't, like people, a lot of people now talk about flow states. So flow is something that a lot of people aspire to because it's has a lot of benefits. Well, flow is an unconscious thing. So flow happens only when there has to be sufficient unconscious operating going on in order for flow to occur. So we could say flow is what happens when it's a state of unconscious competence. So in order to achieve that, in order to orchestrate your life so that you can have lots and lots of flow, you would want to have lots and lots of functional beliefs. So the problem occurs that what takes you out of flow is when you have beliefs which are not aligned with what it is that you're wanting. So that's where it becomes problematic. You have an intention or a desire, but then you have beliefs that are interfering with that. So again, the beliefs are just the unconscious operating system. So your operating system, you want your operating system to allow you to achieve what it is you desire in life in ways that you would experience as flow. And in order for that to happen, then the beliefs, which are what construct or make up your operating system, need to be aligned with whatever it is you want. So then the problem is when you have beliefs that are not aligned with what you want, that's going to take you out of flow because it's like a hiccup. Like, okay, well, I was in flow for a moment there because I had a bunch of beliefs that were aligned with what I want, but then all of a sudden this belief pops up that interferes because it prevents me from perceiving and behaving in ways that are congruent with what it is that I want. So hopefully this makes sense. So this is how powerful beliefs are. They shape your experience. So I don't know a way around that. If you do, you can let me know. But I'm fairly certain that beliefs are enormously important, and that learning how to change your beliefs is one of the most important skills. So we can talk a little bit about that now. So you've probably heard me say this before, and if not, then this will be new for you. Um, Knowing what you want is one of the most important things in life, because if you don't know what you want, then you won't have direction. And if you don't have direction, then you're not going to be able to take action. And if you can't take action, you're not going to be able to get feedback. And if you don't get feedback, then you can't make any changes that will allow you to make improvements. And then you're not going to learn. And if you don't learn, then you're not going to attain greater self-knowledge. And if you don't attain greater self-knowledge, then you've basically missed the whole point. So knowing what you want is of very primary importance. Um, and once you know what you want, in any sense, big or small, then what that does is it starts to orient you in the direction of what it is that you want. And as I pointed out just a moment ago, when you start to orient yourself toward what you want, then ideally what you want is for your operating system, your beliefs, to be aligned with that will allow you to achieve that outcome in a way that you experience as flow, that will be harmonious and easy and enjoyable. So as you orient yourself toward what you want, as long as all of your beliefs are completely congruent with that, then you will achieve what you want in a way that you experience as completely frictionless. So there'll be just a sense of flow. You just put your attention there and it just happens, and it seems completely effortless. Because it's not that no action is happening. Of course action is happening. Action has to happen in order to achieve anything. But the action will seem as though it's completely effortless because it's happening through your unconscious operating system. So remember what I said, that the beliefs dictate your perceptions and your behaviors. So if you have all of the beliefs already in alignment with whatever it is you want to achieve, then achieving that will seem as though there's no effort involved. It will seem completely frictionless, almost as though you're doing nothing, because it will happen unconsciously. It will happen entirely through the beliefs which are already present. So if that's the case, again, everything's already optimized. If you know what you want and your beliefs are already in alignment with that, then you will achieve what you want in a way in alignment with in a way that you will experience as flow. So that's great. That's what you want. There's no problem. However, for most of us, most of the time, what happens is we orient toward what we want, and then we start to experience all of the friction. So it takes us out of flow and puts us into a state of where we're experiencing friction, resistance. And the reason for that is because there are beliefs which are in your operating system which are not in alignment with what you want. So we could call this limiting beliefs because they're limiting what it is that you want. They're creating friction. So it's possible then to achieve what you want by exerting willpower. And some people advocate for that and some people practice that. And I very strongly recommend against that because there's quite a lot of evidence that willpower is we call it a non-renewable resource, or at the very least, it's uh, a a resource that is slow to renew. So I consider it wise to use willpower judiciously. Because if you just try to use willpower, then what happens is, and you've probably experienced this yourself, is that you can manage that for some amount of time, whether that's for 30 seconds or 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 years. And then you run out of willpower. And if you haven't changed the beliefs, then you're going to revert to whatever behaviors and perceptions the beliefs dictate. So willpower allows you to override beliefs, but the beliefs are far stronger and they're resilient. Whereas you burn through willpower, and then once you're out of willpower, you're gonna fall back on the beliefs again. So I very much advocate for using willpower judiciously, just in the smallest amount possible and as infrequently as possible. You think about it just like a little course correction or um, a way to start to instigate some kind of change, preferably a change in a belief. But again, if you're just relying on willpower without changing the beliefs, it's not going to be sustainable. So, um, so I believe that changing beliefs is the one of the most useful and powerful things you can do in order to help yourself achieve what you want. Again, obviously, the first thing is to have clarity about what you want, because if you don't know what you want, then you don't really know where to put your attention at all. You don't know where to direct yourself. Um, it's not that Now, you could still make some progress in terms of releasing or changing some beliefs, even if you don't know what you want. And in some ways, sometimes releasing some beliefs could be helpful for you to gain more clarity about what you want. Well, in fact, I would say always releasing beliefs will help you to gain more clarity about what you want. But often it's preferable to start out with some kind of sense of what you want, even though that's probably going to change or at least be refined as you proceed. Because as you release beliefs, then what will happen is you'll gain more clarity or precision or something about what it is that you want. But having some kind of orientation from the beginning is usually helpful. If you just say, well, I have no idea at all what I want, I can't even begin to figure that out, then you could start just with some releasing some beliefs, because you probably have some common beliefs, some common identity beliefs. Like most people have the belief, if they haven't yet released it, they have the belief, I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough. So again, those are just words. So the words in and of themselves don't mean anything, but for most people, those words or something similar to that will point to a meaning that they've associated with a bunch of experiences. And so those are very common beliefs. So if in the absence of any other starting point, you could just start there, start with those beliefs. I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not important. Those are great starting points. Because those are just going to be problematic across the board. And I'm not capable is another one. Okay, so those kinds of beliefs just are problematic, because if you believe I'm not capable, then um, that's going to interfere in you being able to achieve success in just about anything, right? Because if you believe I'm not capable, well, you're not capable of anything. Therefore, you're going to have basically an impossible time achieving anything that you want in life. So releasing that belief would be really helpful. Um, so hopefully I've made a case for what a belief is, why they're important, or what purpose they serve, or what function they serve, and why changing beliefs is such a valuable skill. So we'll take a little bit of time now to explore how you can change beliefs. So the real secret is to understand the structure of belief. So if that's not clear to you, then I really encourage you to review that and importantly, to explore that in your actual experience. So it's one thing to hear the theory of it, but in order for it to really be something you can work with, you have to really look for yourself and see how that's actually true in your actual experience. So just notice beliefs that you have and then notice how those beliefs actually have that structure. And then when you understand that, then clearly, in order to release a belief, all that's necessary is to release the association of the meaning with whatever those experiences are. Because if you release that, then all of a sudden you just have those meaningless experiences again. So the association of the meaning with the experiences is what really forms the core of the belief. So you've got, on the one hand, you've got this bundle of experiences, and those experiences are fundamentally meaningless. But you have categorized them, grouped them together, and assigned a meaning to them. So it's sort of like you have a suitcase, and you've put all of these meanings, all these beliefs, all these experiences in the suitcase. So the experiences actually have nothing to do with one another at all. They're all meaningless. So there's no connection between them at all. But you pack them in this metaphorical suitcase, and then you put a handle on it, and you put a label on the handle that says whatever meaning you've assigned to all that. So if you have the belief, I'm not capable, then you've got all these experiences which are fundamentally meaningless and unrelated, but you pack them together into that suitcase and you put a handle on it, and you put a label on it that says, I'm not capable. And so now you just carry that around in this. I'm not capable is the shorthand version of that. And if somebody challenged you on it, then you'd open up the suitcase and you say, look, here's all my evidence why I'm not capable. I did this and this thing and this other thing, and this person said this thing, and I failed on this thing, and yada, yada, yada. All of that means I'm not capable. So once you once you release that association, then it's like, okay, all of a sudden, all of those experiences are out of the suitcase and they're no longer labeled. And it's revealed that they're meaningless and that they don't have any connection to one another. So where's the belief now? There's no belief anymore. So the experiences remain, but they're seen to be fundamentally meaningless. Or you could also restructure them so that you assign a different meaning to them. That will also work. So you could release a belief, you could reorganize into a different belief, but either one will work. And there are many, many different ways of doing that in terms of techniques that can work. And obviously, I say obvious to me, I'm not going to cover all of those today. What I will share with you is one very simple process that you can use. And this is only one process. So I have other processes that I teach people. And if you wanted to learn those, then in order to do justice to those, you'd really need to take the time and invest in that. But today I'm going to give you one very simple and yet very powerful process that you can use to actually release or change any belief. And so this process is really, it's just about understanding that you don't even have to understand how it works to make it work, but I'll just give you the basis for it. So all meaning is defined by what it is not. So all things are defined by what they are not. So if we have like night and day, for example, so the day would be meaningless if there was no night. Likewise, night would be meaningless if there was no day. Take another example. Up would be meaningless if there was no down, and down would be meaningless if there was no up. So the meaning of each of them is actually defined by whatever its opposite is. So they form a polarity. So up and down, night and day, here and there, all of these are polarities, and every meaning is defined by its polar opposite. So you, in order to release the particular meaning that's assigned to a group of experiences, what you can do is you can simply all you do is you alternate in you giving your attention to one end of the polarity and then the other end of the polarity. So you could take a simple example. Let's say you have the belief, I'm not capable. So you can just, and you can try this out with any belief that you might have. So you could do this. I'll just guide you through it now. We've got a few minutes, so and it doesn't take much longer than that. So just choose a belief that you have. So if you happen to have the belief I'm not capable, or if you have the belief I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or any other belief that you would like to release, then just bring to mind that belief. And on the one hand, just think to yourself that belief. So I'll use the example, I'm not capable. So you just think, I'm not capable, and just notice that, and just notice whatever comes to mind. So just let whatever surfaces surface. Just notice that. And you don't need to try and do anything with it or make anything of it. You don't have to worry whether it's working or not. Just give your attention to that. I'm not capable. And then you're going to, on the other hand, you're going to give your attention to whatever the opposite of that is. So in this example, I am capable. So this is not about trying to replace I'm not capable with I am capable. Rather, it's just about giving attention momentarily to whatever the opposite is. So I am capable, and just notice whatever comes up. And whether you're conscious of something or not conscious of something, it doesn't matter. Just notice whatever you notice, and if you don't notice anything, that's fine too. And then you're going to just alternate between these two. So I'm not capable. So on the one hand, I'm not capable. And you just notice whatever you notice. So you just think that I'm not capable, and whatever comes up. Doesn't matter what the association is, doesn't matter whether it's conscious or not conscious, just notice whatever you notice. And on the other hand, I am capable. And again, it's not about, we're not trying to replace the belief with its opposite. We're just noticing, we're just giving attention to the polar opposites, but in an alternating fashion. So on the one hand, I'm not capable. You just notice whatever comes to mind. And there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever is there, whatever comes up. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. And on the other hand, I am capable. And no force. We're not trying to force I am capable. It's not the association with I am capable could be that's absolutely not true. And that's fine. Right. So whatever, maybe the association is resistance, maybe the association is that's a stupid idea, whatever, it's fine. So we're not trying to assert that it is true. We're just giving attention to whatever is associated with that. And on the one hand, I'm not capable. You just notice whatever comes up. And on the other hand, I am capable. So we'll just do a few more alternations. So on the one hand, I am not capable. And on the other hand, I am capable. And it's possible as you're doing this that at a certain point you might start to feel a little bit funny, maybe, or maybe very relaxed, or maybe at a certain point your mind has difficult time focusing. Many different types of things might happen. And so don't force anything. So just remain comfortable. And if what's most comfortable is just to completely let go, then that's fine. For those who are still comfortable, we'll just do a few more alternations. So on the one hand, I'm not capable. And on the other hand, I am capable. On the one hand, I'm not capable. And on the other hand, I am capable. So for the guided practice, that's all I'm going to guide. For some of you, it's possible that you might now have discovered that the whole thing became meaningless and that you can no longer believe what it was that you did believe, in which case, congratulations. And for some of you, there'll still be more alternations required, in which case you can do that on your own. It's obviously quite simple to do. So again, just to recap, you identify whatever the belief is, and just on the one hand, you put your attention on that and just notice whatever comes up. Doesn't have to make sense or not. It doesn't have to be, maybe there's something conscious, maybe not. Just notice. And then on the other hand, whatever the opposite of that is, you put your attention on that. And again, it's not trying to force anything. You're not trying to override anything. You're just putting your attention on whatever the opposite pole is. So the process is very light and simple, not forced in any way. It's just alternating your attention between these two polarities without an agenda of trying to figure it out or replace or anything, but just to allow the process to reveal something to you. And through that, at some point, whether that's 3 alternations or 10 alternations or 30 alternations, it will happen, at least more often than not, that there will be a release of that association. So it will then just be meaningless. You'll just realize, okay, it no longer means anything. You may also find that it can put you into a state of a very unitive state. So you don't do this while operating heavy machinery. I guess I should have prefaced the whole thing by saying that. Hopefully nobody had any problems with that. I shouldn't laugh. But it can have that effect. So it might seem odd because it's such a simple process, but it can be very, very powerful. So you may find that it will put you into a very unitive state. And if that happens, just enjoy that. So that's a nice benefit if it occurs. So for today, that's all I have for this talk. For those who are here live, we'll stay on for the group coaching. And for those who are watching this or who will watch this on YouTube, I'll just say a few parting words. Number one, thank you for joining. Thank you for your commitment to yourself and to positive change and self-knowledge. And if you're interested in joining these talks live, you may be interested in signing up for my newsletter, which is where you can get the information to join live. So you can do that at joeylott.com, and I'll provide the link in the description on YouTube. And when you do that, you'll also get instant access to the ebook that I provide, which has 5 of the fundamental laws of creation. So you can learn about those, including the law of polarity, which is one of those things that we explored today with this process. So you can have a deeper understanding of that. And for those who are interested in a structured and supported process with my guidance to help you to achieve your goals in a harmonious way so that you can fulfill your purpose and fulfill and satisfy your true desires in this life, you may be interested in the Manifesting Truth program, which is a paid program that I offer. And you can get more information about that at joeylott.com/manifesting-truth. And I'll also provide the link to that in the description on YouTube. So for those who are watching this on YouTube, Bye for now and blessings to you.